If someone asks you to repeat something, and you do repeat it, and then they get it right, and they clarify that with you, don't then repeat it again. And I'm going to show you what the hell I mean. So I'll give you a complicated call sign just for fun. I'll give you Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta, whatever. That's probably a real person, so don't worry if it's you. I'm just playing, right? So you've got this guy, you really want to get hold of him, he's some rare DX, you've wound the power up to as much as you dare so you don't get found out, and you give your call sign. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. And the fellow at the other end, who's running an amplifier, but luckily for you, he's got a big antenna, and the skip was just right as you said that. And he said, Mike 7, Mike Delta. Who's the Mike 7 Mike station? Then you do it again, don't you? Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. Over. Okay, Mike. Now he's become unsure, right, for whatever reason. But he kind of sticks with the guns. Mike 7, Mike something. Mike 7, what is the end of your call? Or suffix or prefix or whatever. The temptation is to repeat the whole call again. But in fact, you'd be better off, he's got that bit, that's correct. This is the bit he's worried about, okay? Just do it 3 times. Mike Whiskey Delta, Mike Whiskey Delta, Mike Whiskey Delta, over. So he comes back and he says, bearing in mind, you can hear him very well, but for some reason you think, psychologically, why can't he hear me as well as I can hear him? By the way, that's a psychological problem that we have, right? It's just because we're brought up, thinking that. But this is the radio now. He's running a ton of power and you're not. He goes, Mike Whiskey 7, I think I've got Mike Whiskey Delta. Is that right? And you go, yes, which he doesn't hear because of the QSB, and you say it again. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. Now he's confused. He's not quite sure because one of these letters, he's now not quite sure what you call this. Is it Mike 6? Mike Golf Whiskey? Is that your call? No, Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. And eventually he ends up back at where we were a minute ago. Mike 7. But he's unsure of the Mike Whiskey Delta. Ignore the purple thing, we're having fun as a family a minute ago. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. Is that your call? Yes. And shut up. Roger, QSL. You don't need to repeat it. It's not like you're in a room in a coffee shop where he can hear you as well as you can hear him, and there's a lot of hustle bustle going around. And he say, what's your name? I say Callum. And they go, Callum? And you go, yeah, Callum. That's fine. But not on the radio. Don't repeat it if he's got it right. Absolutely don't repeat it. You're in a contest. Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta, thanks. You're giving me 5 and 9. Is that 247? Is that what number you're giving me? And you go, yeah, 24. Ooh. What's my number again? If you would have gone, Roger, QSL, over, he would have heard one of the Rogers or the QSL. Okay? If someone has got some information that's right, do not repeat it. That is the simple thing you can do. All right? That's one of my biggest tips, and it happens to me a lot. I'll get a call sign right, and I'm trying to force them into a corner by saying, Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta, is that your call? And you'll hear me on the live stream. Give me a Roger. I'm trying to tell them, don't freaking repeat the call. Just give me a Roger. And sometimes they do. They go, yeah, Roger. I've got it. It's exactly the same. Stop giving your whole call again. I need the last letter only. This happens to me as well. And I get Mike 7, Mike Whiskey Delta. Last letter, Delta. Last 2 letters, Whiskey Delta, over. That's it. So imagine that they can't, if they're after a repeat, something's going wrong. They can't hear you very well. You know, I'm very often running on a limit of my power sometimes. So a little 10 watt station calls in the main I kind of hear them, but I don't hear them very well. So that's the, have I laboured it enough? I have. Cut.